All right, in this video exercise, we are asked to multiply a pair of matrices. But first, let's have a look at this formula I got down here highlighted in yellow. We've got a couple of matrices multiplying each other. We have A, B, C. Now, how many rows, how many columns for the A, B, C on the left here? Well, it's 1 row, 3 columns. So that's a 1 by 3. And this is 3 rows, 1 column. 3 rows by 1 column. And in order to find compatibility, in other words, whether or not we can multiply, we need to match up the columns with the rows of the second one. So if we were to match them up, we have 3 columns from the first one, and we have 3 rows from the second one. So the 3 and 3 match, therefore we can actually multiply them. So what's the process? What do we multiply? Well, we multiply the entries. The first one is A times P, which is AP. Then we add B times Q, then we add C times R. We add them together and that becomes the entry for the final matrix. So let's have a look at the process here. Let's first of all decide whether or not, or determine whether or not these two guys are compatible for multiplication. Well, how many rows, how many columns do we have on this one? Well, it's 2 rows and 4 columns. So this is a 2 by 4. And this one here, how many rows does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4 by what? By 1 column. So are these compatible? Yes, because the columns of the first one match the rows of the second one. So therefore they are compatible and we can multiply them. Now, what will be the result? What sort of a matrix will we get once we multiply them? What sort of a matrix will we get? Well, when we multiply them, we're going to get a matrix that's going to be a 2 by 1. So this matrix will be a what? A 2 by 1. It'll be 2 rows by 1 column. 2 rows, 1 column. Okay, that means we're just going to have 2 entries basically. So let me just close the parentheses in there. I'll do that in a moment. But for now, let's multiply. Here's the process again, as I indicated earlier. We're going to take the first row. We're going to multiply that column. Then for the next entry, we're going to take the second row and multiply by that column, and we're going to add them together. So the first one will be 2 times 3, and then we're going to add 6 times -1. Then we're going to add -2 times 4, and then we're going to add 7 times 6. Then we're going to go to the second row, and we're going to take the first entry right there, 1 times 3. Then we're going to add 0 times -1, then 3 times 4, then 1 times 6, and that's going to be our second entry. So let's proceed. Let's start off with the first row times that 1 column right there. So the first entry, 2 times 3. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's a 2 times 3. That's our first entry. Then we're going to add the second entry, which is 6 times -1. So let's go ahead and write that up. 6 times -1. Then we're going to go ahead and add -2 times 4, -2 times 4 right there. So -2 times +4. And then we're going to add 7 times 6. That's the last one down the bottom. 7 times 6. Let's write that up. 7 times 6. Okay, let's close the parenthesis right there. Let's go for the second entry down below. We're going to use this row right here with that column. So the first one will be 1 times 3, right there, 1 times 3. Let's put that in. Then we're going to add 0 times -1, 0 times -1. Then we're going to add 3 times 4, 3 times 4 right there. Then we're going to add 1 times 6. 1 times 6 right there, the 6 down the bottom. So let's write that out. 1 times 6. Okay, all we have to do is simplify this top one and this bottom one, and we'll have the 2 entries. So the answer is, it's going to be a what? It's going to be a 2 by 1, meaning 2 rows, 1 column. So 2 rows, 1 column. So basically 2 entries. Entry 1, entry 2. So let's work this out. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times negative 1 is minus 6. Negative 2 times 4 is minus 8. And then we have 7 times 6, which is 42, a rather big number. So 6 take away 6, that's 0, that cancels. And then we have 42 take away 8. 42 take away 8, that's going to give us a value of 34. There's our first top entry up there. Let's go for the bottom answer right here, that entry right there. That's from down here, so let's get that. 1 times 3 will give us a value of 3, plus 0 times negative 1 is 0, plus 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 times 6 is 6. So let's add these, 12 and 6. That's going to give us a value of what? That's going to be 18 plus 3, 21. So that's the value right here. So when we multiply these two matrices together, they are compatible. 2 by 4 multiplied by a 4.1, it's going to give us a matrix that is a 2 by 1. And that is our answer. Hope that helps. There you go.